So guys, this United States FBI agent, John Guandolo, has come out to explain what Nigeria is going through. This is the reason why the terrorists are not going to give in. I mean, they are not going to stop what they are doing. It is a pure agenda. And they believe they are doing it for Allah. Just take your time and listen for yourself. This is coming from an FBI agent. These are people that have intelligence on what is happening across the world. And he has come out to shock the world. He's speaking from experience, from data, from information that they've gathered, that this is what is happening. It's not just in Nigeria alone. This is an agenda that is set to be fulfilled across the entire world. But you know, they are starting with their soft target. They feel Nigeria, because we have majority of the Islamist sympathizers in government, in power in Nigeria. And they believe it is good they start from such a place. Now, take your time and watch this video to the end, and you are going to be listening to an ex-Muslim, somebody who has actually practiced Islam, coming out to give shocking information. Take your time, watch this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
This FBI agent brilliantly break down what Islam really is.
The entire purpose of Islam, according to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it. Islam is no more complicated than that. Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims.
Do you think Nigeria should become a Sharia nation?
That is my ambition, and that is the ambition of every Muslim in this country.
So let's just put that on the line. And so we're here talking national security issues. We have people here that are running for the office of President of the United States, and we have to begin there. And what I would put forth is that since, and actually prior to, but since 9/11, our entire national security apparatus has been unprofessional in its approach to this war, from the four-star generals to the office of the president to the national security staff to the leaders of DHS when it was created, the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies. Because we have said this has nothing to do with Islam, despite the fact that our warfighting doctrine says when you analyze an enemy, you start with who he says he is and why he's fighting. And 100% of this enemy that we're facing, from the jihadi in Chattanooga to the 9/11 hijackers and everybody before and in between, have all said we're Muslims waging jihad in the cause of Allah in order to impose Islamic law and establish caliphate, period. So that's what it is. And if we look in Islamic law, authoritative Islamic law, the kind you get at mosque bookstores, not at Barnes & Noble, you will see that 100% of them say that jihad is warfare against non-Muslims. And it's total warfare. It's not just guns and bombs. It's psychological warfare. It is political warfare. It's subversion. It is the whole 9 yards. It's total warfare, something that our DOD has not been practicing. I would say you'd have to go back towards Reagan administration and maybe even beyond that. Complete and total war.
This man is exactly right. Islam is at war with the West.
I happened to come across a video of yours where you had done sort of a response to one of my own videos about the current, call it what it is, genocide that's been taking place in Nigeria. And I appreciated that so much. And, you know, when you had reached out, I thought that this had to be God sending you this way, because I've been praying for somebody on the ground to talk to about this. So I want to thank you once again for coming here and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I guess where we can start off is who is Stephen? Who are you? How do you describe yourself? What are you into? And what has God been calling you, I guess, into as far as message ministry? Because, you know, you have content and things of that nature. So I really want people to get a sense of who you are.
Thank you very much. I'm a Christian, a Nigerian Christian, who who became a Christian. I wasn't born in a Christian family. I was actually born in a Muslim family.
Wow.
But I was being weighed down by the load of my sin, and I didn't know where to turn to. I did all I could as a Muslim, did all this religious stuff, but I wasn't still free from sin. So in my desperation, I approached a friend of mine. That was many years ago anyway. We were classmates. So I went to him, told him all that I was going through, and to cut the whole story short, so he prayed with me, and I became a Christian.
Wow.
That was in my late teenage years. Since then, I have been in the church, but I didn't know much of the deep things in Islam. The deep, just like an average Muslim.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know anything. You were just doing that religion. But the thing that kept me going on was that here is someone that reached down to me and pulled me out of my sin. And I saw that a change happened in my life, which was not there before when I was a Muslim.
Yeah.
So I always came across Muslims that would attack Christianity and try to say there is this contradiction, Trinity is not true. I didn't have any response. But the only thing that I held on to, the only thing that kept me going was that I was a sinner before.
Yeah.
And now that Jesus has saved me, I was like, how come that these people are still saying all this, that whatever be the case, that's their problem. And I continued in church ministry. I had been a chorister. I led choir when I was in my college years. All that kind of thing. We'll go about, preach the gospel, reach out to villages. When I was I'm not sure if you understand this thing that they called NYSC in Nigeria, National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. So it is a mandatory 1-year service for all graduate students. So once you graduate from a college and you are under 30 years old, you are going to serve. We call it service, national service. So you will spend about a year somewhere. You'll be posted to another state apart from your own state. So when I went for that youth service, I still served in the church. I was a kind of pastor to a village church, all that. All that changed about 10 years ago. So I want to get into why I started my YouTube content. That changed 10 years ago when I came across a video by David Wood. He called
that's
it,
right.
yeah. That was my baptism of fire into apologetics. So the title of that video, if you look for it, is still online. It is Who Killed Muhammad? I got it through a friend. I borrowed a hard disk, a computer hard disk, from a friend of mine because that is my profession. Computing is my profession. I do some software development. So I borrowed that hard disk, wanted to repair a computer. So I needed to move the content into a storage device. Then after the repairs, I would pull it back. It was in that my friend's hard disk. I do not know. I can't remember what I was looking for. Then I stumbled across this video.
Wow. Hey. Okay. God is going to reach you anyway.
And you know what's funny? My friend got that hard disk, got the content of the hard disk from a Muslim who gave him his own laptop to repair. You get the story. So he moved the content of that client's laptop into his own hard disk, repaired the laptop, moved back the content, but did not delete it from his own hard disk. That was how it got to me. And he did not know that it was there. He didn't know it was there. So when I watched that video for the first time, Who Killed Muhammad? I was dazed because it was so telling. I watched and watched and watched repeatedly to learn that this man called Muhammad actually died by poison in the hand of a Jewish woman. It was amazing. So a lot of questions kept ringing in my heart. Why didn't they tell us this when we were Muslims? Why don't Muslims talk about it? Every Christian talks about how Jesus died. It's not a thing of shame. We're not ashamed.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's foundational. So how come that Muslims are not proud to talk about how Muhammad died? So I started looking I didn't know who David Wood was because he didn't mention his name in that video.
Yeah.
So I started going around on YouTube, trying to locate who is this man. So I was able to match some other videos with the one that I had in my hand. From there, I got to know his name was David Wood. He had a friend called Nabi Qureshi. So from that time, I got hooked. And all of the lies that we were told, everything was just being pulled away. The scales were falling down. And so then some sort of annoyance, some sort of anger. The more I digged deep, the more I found that I was angry. Why all these lies? Why were we not told all these things?
Yeah.
Then I started going into some other Christian contents. Mike Winger, Jay Smith when he was at Speaker's Corner, and many other people. I got to know Frank Turek. I got to know all these people.
Yeah.
So I started looking into the foundations of Christianity and how you can intellectually prove it. Oh, I got blown away.
Hey.
So I felt my own people, whether in the church or in the mosque, they are not aware of these things. Why? That was why I started to make public my content about 2 or 3 years ago. So that's just the summary of.
You went from being a man who couldn't even face a conversation from a non-believer, from a Muslim who was contradicting you, to now it's like you have saturated yourself and you can now stand and really be an apologist for the faith. That is incredible. So, I mean, and again, the story of the computer is going to be a hallmark now. For everybody who's watching right now, this is going to become a part of our lives, that God will make sure that somebody else doesn't delete that content so it gets into your hands.
Yeah.
Nothing will stop God. So, okay. So the question I did have, though, as far as you are making this conversion, you're saved, you're now a believer. Are you outward about it with the people around you? You have Muslims that are in your family still. Are you hush hush? What did that look like for you?
Okay, yeah. I came from a family of five children. I was the firstborn.
Okay.
My parents weren't that religious, but they got very, very crazy when I told them I was going to church.
Wow.
It wasn't funny. At a time, about 2 or 3 teachers had to come together and contribute my tuition fee for a term or 2 because my parents just rejected me. They rejected me. But I persisted by God's grace. I was surrounded by Christians, real Christians, because I attend a we call it gospel church here. We call it these Pentecostal churches. There are many around. I happened to attend one then. So they surrounded me, didn't allow the persecution to overwhelm. But I got seriously persecuted by my parents. So ever since, I've had a lot of Christian friends, We've been moving fine. I've also contributed to a lot of church service here and there. So that is the story.
So I guess you said your parents, it was rejection immediately. Your brothers and
Yeah,
sisters, the same
immediately.
thing, or?
See, I was the firstborn. So we were all in high school. We call it secondary school here. And so since I was the firstborn, my siblings couldn't reject me. They didn't even know what was happening. They didn't know. I tried to woo some of them. Now I have 3. I used to have 4. I'll tell you the story of how one of my younger brothers died some months ago.
Wow, sorry about
so then
that.
I was having 4 brothers and 4 sisters. I tried my best to preach to them and bring them to Christ, but my parents did not allow them. They didn't allow them. And they couldn't face the kind of persecution that I faced. So they just went back. But one of them came to stay with me when I was on campus for about a year or so. And so we would go to church together. We would attend campus fellowship, very vibrant fellowship of brothers and sisters. He wasn't converted then until years later when he became a young man. At that time, he was just a teenager, tried to enroll him in a nearby secondary school so he could also get to school, while I was also a student on campus. So several years later, on his own, completely isolated from family, from everybody, the Spirit of God started dealing with him. He knew that he had to make his ways right with God.
Wow.
But he didn't know how to go about it. He was wondering, is Islam the way? Is Christianity the way? But then the years that he spent with me on campus kept on flooding back on his mind. He compared those years with all the other Muslims. And in his own words, he saw the difference. This is a Christian. This is the only Christian in this family. But I see his life is different from every other person.
Yeah.
So he chose to follow Christ. That was how he got converted. He repented and became a believer himself.
Unbelievable.
He passed away.
So this is the same brother. He was the second oldest?
No, he was the second to the last. The second to the last. So in between me and him, there are two people. So he was the 4th of the 5 children.
And you're saying, so what happened to him?
Wow. He took ill and we didn't know it was liver related. It was already too late before I got to know. As a matter of fact, he died literally in my hands. He died in my house.
So sorry. Wow.
Some 6 months ago or thereabouts. It was so heavy on my mind. But I have the joy that I wept for. Even now that I'm saying it, I still feel it. But I have that hope that one day we shall reunite again.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. And that is the promise that Christ has given us.
Yeah.
Of everlasting life. So I can only imagine that this has even fueled you more so, to stand up for the faith, seeing what Christ has done in your own life, and then to see your little brother probably so unseemingly to come to Christ, and then, as they say, changing addresses, right? As a Christian, you don't die, you just you change locations.
Yeah.
So in that, did you see any sort of shift of the people around you? I mean, are any of your other brothers and sisters now in a place where they're adults and they're questioning things more, or is there really a separation and that's becoming more and more now as Christians and as Muslims? Or
Um, of the 4 siblings that I had, now that one is late, there are 3
Yeah.
remaining.
Yeah.
So one of them, the one following me immediately, is a hardcore Muslim. Yeah, he attended this Quranic school. His own family, everybody is raised as Muslim. His wife has this burqa from head
Yeah.
to toe. So as far as I can remember, the last time that I saw her face
Yeah.
was more than 20 years ago. So you know the kind of level that they operate. But the
Wow.
2 sisters that
Yeah.
we are not at enmity, though. We're not. He's not. At least outwardly, we relate pretty well.
Beautiful. Yeah.
The 2 sisters following him.
Mm-hmm.
And this breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Because they're the average Muslim on the street who do not know their left from their right. And yet they have persisted in this way, this Islamic way. I'll call them victims. They are victims. They're victims. I'm praying that one day they will come to see the light of Christ.
Amen.
And respond to his love. So we're all getting on fine. Both of my parents are dead now. Both of them are dead. So that's just as far as my family relationships.
Wow. And thank you for sharing that. That is close and intimate, and especially, about your brother and how fresh that is. But again, that gives, anybody out there watching to say, we can hold on to hope. And I think that's something that is more necessary now in these times, which I believe is the final hour in essence for us before meeting back up with our Lord. But can you then tell me, in the last 20 or so years, or I guess I don't even want to insinuate, have things gotten drastically worse for Christians in Nigeria, or do you always remembering it being this level of persecution?
Everything in Nigeria is for the wars by the day. Literally everything. So you can imagine the Christian persecution too. Because Nigeria has drifted from a Western kind of nation to a point where Arab and China, they are the new friends of the governments in power. Nigeria used to be an ally of US, of UK. When I was growing up, you would see Western companies taking all kinds of projects in Nigeria. Julius Berger, I think from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and some other companies. They were the ones, engineers, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But in successive years, the administrators of Nigeria, who are majorly Muslims, I can count the number of Christians that have ruled Nigeria in the last 20, 30 years. So they have systematically moved Nigeria away from Western influence, particularly in the north. And so that has made the Christian persecution in the north very, very severe, worse than before.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up as a young man, I had just become a Christian. Once in a blue moon, we would hear about these clashes in the north. in Kanu, in Kaduna. But now it's all over the place. It's all over the place. And it's spreading southward too. So to answer your question in a nutshell, it's worse now than before.
Yeah. And why do you think it is that there's been such either an ignorance or an ignoring of it from much of the world as it's ramped up? You know, they talked about it decades ago, a little bit, but now it's so much worse, as you said, on the ground, and yet we hear less and less about it. What do you think that's about?
First of all, I'll put the blame at the doorsteps of the Christian leaders in Nigeria themselves.
Okay.
Because it is this docile, wishy-washy, don't confront, don't make anybody angry kind of preaching that you get. Just concentrate on Christianity and the coming of the Lord. Don't take part in public debates. Don't get involved in politics, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So much of the blame I'll put on the Christian leaders. Because if you don't shout about your problem, how do you expect others to know about it?
Absolutely.
So that is the first thing. The second thing is, about 2 weeks ago or thereabout, I saw a content of yours on ideological subversion, where you were reviewing this man's video, Yuri Bezmenov or something like that, a defector KGB. So that thing is real in Nigeria. It's real. So it's not possible to go through the Nigeria's educational system and not become completely subdued and unable to raise your voice, stand for yourself. So it's subversion. But then from the side of the West, I'm not the kind of person that will blame others for our own misfortune. So I don't want to blame the West for not waking up to our problem.
Yeah.
I know the West has their own problem. So I don't know. I think it is we Nigerian Christians that have not actually raised our voices. That's how I'm going to put it.
And you pointed out something that is so interesting to me because, when you have a worldview that is landlocked in either the Western civilization or even more so, let's say the United States, you think everybody else lives in these sort of homogenous environments where everybody is the same. So you think, one Christian is like every Christian in Nigeria, not understanding that there too we have the same problem as we have in America or much of the West, where you have most of the church is lukewarm, right? Most of the church is not necessarily focused on the Great Commission, but instead on not offending, as you had stated, right? I thought that was a Western issue. We have liberal churches here where they're so afraid to offend the next person that they won't tell them the truth. And so, I'd like you to go a little deeper into that one there.
Okay. You see, the Nigerian church is fractured. So, and that may also have contributed a lot. The northern part of Nigeria is where the heat of persecution is felt most. The southern part is divided along this Pentecostalism, evangelicalism, and you have the Anglicans, the Methodists kind of doing their own, and the new churches that sprang up in, I think, in the 70s or so. So they are the sort of the revivalist movements. So it is in these churches that you find that members isolate from discussions in the society, debates about politics, confronting issues. It is these movements, these spiritual Pentecostal movements. You see, we have two Christian bodies in Nigeria, the umbrella bodies of Nigeria, the Christians. There is one that is called the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. We generally call them CAN here. CAN is broader, and it includes the Anglican, the Baptist, the Methodist, and other churches. Whereas the other one, which is you will see where I'm going with this, the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. So that is the body of these other ones that I've just described, the Pentecostal movements, the spiritual church, the born-again movements. The born-again movements. So you find the PFN. PFN is more detached from issues of the society than CAN. So my own church belongs to PFN kind of group. So that is the problem that Nigeria has. No interaction with politics, no interaction with societal issues. You are not supposed to meddle in some issues, just focus on. We go to church a lot. We go to church a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. You can be sure of that. In the South, we go to church a lot.
Yeah.
So then you now have another group of Christians that are the prosperity movement sort of thing. So the motivational speakers, the prosperity preachers, those ones also do their own thing somewhere. So they are all around. That is how the Church of Nigeria is made up of.
Wow.
We try to preach, but you get it.
And do you find that most people fall into which camp? The sort of exclusive or secluded? Are they falling now more into the prosperity where you see these massive gatherings of people trying to get their blessing? What does it look like on the ground?
Yeah. Nigeria is a deeply religious society. Very, very religious. So in the South here, where Christianity is more dominant, so all these groups that I've mentioned, they still have massive followership. Massive. Nearly every group has it. The prosperity preachers started coming up when Nigeria got down the slope of poverty. And so to give people hope, these other ones, they saw the opportunity and they latched onto it. So they have their own followings. They have their own followers too.
So now, getting into what is, you said, mostly been concentrated in the North, but is making its way into the South. I want to have an honest conversation because here in the West, majoritively, for lack of a better term, there are two stories. One is the mainstream narrative, which is that there is something happening to Christians in Nigeria. That's the mainstream. They don't tell you who, they don't tell you why. It's just, there's some level of persecution. Then there's the story as far as, I guess, the more new media, more in Christian evangelical circles, etc., or Protestant circles, which is there is a concerted effort to massacre Christians at the hands of jihadists, right? Those are kind of the two existing narratives. And for me, I can only know as far as the information that I get. I pray to have the opportunity to be on the ground with brothers like yourself, but what is actually happening?
You see, there is mainstream media. I don't want to say everywhere, but I can tell you that it exists also in Nigeria.
Mm.
So there is mainstream media. Now, here is the narrative that they always push, which is a false narrative.
Okay.
You find that the jihadists will attack villages upon villages. Usually these villages they are made up of peasant farmers.
Okay.
So they have their farmlands, either inherited from their own ancestors or bought or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then the jihadists who move from the north, from the core north, some of them from Niger. If you see the map of Nigeria, in the northern Nigeria, Nigeria borders Niger in the north. Some of them move from Niger, some of them move from Chad, but they are Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
So then they will attack these villages and use their cattle to eat the crops. Deliberately, they will eat these crops. Sometimes there have been reports of yam tuber. So it's not a matter of crops that are in the air, that are just on top of the soil.
Yeah.
Even yam tubers and cassava tubers will be uprooted by these herders and cut in pieces and they'll feed these things to their animals. And they're always armed.
Mm.
Many years ago, they used to be armed with small weapons and swords or things like that. Now they have AK-47. You won't believe it, that herders have AK-47, military-grade weapons on them. And we've heard in the past ministers that will defend it. That, well, it's normal for them because they are always going around wilderness in the bush and all that. So that is what is happening. And when these attacks happen, the farmers do their best to, okay, where do you want them to go? Where do you want them to go? So in the process, clashes will break out and these farmers will be massacred. And what you get in the mainstream media is that there is a herder-farmer clash. That's what they push. But majority of these farmers are Christians. They're Christian farmers. Sometimes a few of them could be Muslims. That is why they push back and say, oh, after all, Muslims are also victims. They say that. So that is the point. But in addition to that, there are instances where the attacks have nothing to do with farmers and herders. As bad as that one is, there are instances where villages, churches will be attacked and you don't see traces of animals. So it has nothing to do with animals. It is jihadist movements. Killing upon killing upon killing. It's getting to the south also. It's getting to the south. Because about 2-3 years ago, there was a church in Owo, in Ondo State in Nigeria.
Where is that? North or south?
South.
Okay.
Yeah, particularly in Southwest. During a church service, I think it was on Sunday or so, and they were attacked. More than 100 people, 100 worshippers were killed. Children, women, everybody. So that has nothing to do with
farming.
Cattle. No, nothing.
But the reports about that on the ground were what? What was the story that they had behind that in the mainstream?
Oh, when it is so obvious that they cannot hide it, then they're going to report it. And they are still very careful not to mention Islam and things like that. So they're going to come up with stories like extremists. You know, that is what they normally say. Extremists, religious, they say religious clashes, religious extremism, things like that. But we know what it is, that it is jihad.
Yeah. Right.
And once that kind of story is reported for some days or a week or two, that is the end. You don't hear about it again until another one happens.
So being somebody who was raised a Muslim, then, you know, finds faith in Christ, has family who is in Islam, etc., and you even spoke of your sisters, because there's this kind of distinction between those who know what the actual religion is about and then those who, you know, call themselves Muslims, but they probably have never really picked up the Quran. For yourself as an apologist, as somebody who probably understands, you know, that religion better than most of those people, what is the disconnect there? Why is it that they can't make the connection between this jihad, you know, and they call it extremism, and to say this is just what Islam is?
See, there is a vast difference between Christianity and Islam.
Yeah.
Anybody who is saying, well, all religions are the same, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
In Christianity.
So guys, let me take you through some of the headlines on the social media, some of the things that are happening today on the social media. There is this lady, there is this girl, this teenage girl, Fulani headsman, cut off teenage girl's hand in Kaduna after family rejected marriage proposal. So guys, if you look at this girl now, you'll know that possibly she's not even a Muslim, you know, or yeah. The Fulani is in Islam, a man can marry a Christian so that the Christian can convert, but a Christian girl cannot marry a Muslim. Do you see it? This is what is happening in Nigeria. I don't even know the kind of leaders we have in this country, and these things will happen. Tinubu will just be quiet, you know. The whole world has one common problem: Islam. I'm telling you. How can you cut off a girl's hand for rejecting a marriage proposal? I'm just wondering why we should be having this kind of discussion. A Fulani headsman cut off teenage girl's hand in Kaduna after family rejected marriage proposal. Jesus, this is unbelievable. This is totally unbelievable. How did we get to living with this set of human beings in Nigeria? How did we? This is really, really so sad. 10-year-old, it was just the Abuja bomb blast. Look at where we are now. In just 10 years, the carnage, destruction, and boldness. 10 years from now, we have them running the show full time if we don't stop them. Good luck, Nigeria. I think this makes sense. If we don't stop them, it's going to be worse. Nigerians, everybody should come out and begin to speak of this kind of thing we are seeing under the Tinubu's government. The worst part is Tinubu has come out to say there is no Christian genocide. You know, there is no Christian genocide. That's what the sitting president said, no matter what is happening in Nigeria. There is no Christian genocide, even though people are dying. No Christian genocide. So when your leaders deny to even acknowledge what you are going through, you know what that means. Let me read this headline. It says, Bola Tinubu has insisted there is neither Christian nor Muslim genocide in Nigeria, while maintaining that the country's security challenges are driven by terrorism, criminality, and extremism rather than faith-based persecution. Tinubu does not even know what he's saying. That there is no Christian genocide. Can you imagine? He doesn't know what he's saying. And people have been saying it like Tinubu is just in Aso Rock to fulfill obligation that the cabals have taken over. The same thing that happened under Buhari's government is what is happening under Tinubu's government. when the cabals will come and take over and will be the ones, you know, to be running the state. And then you tell us we have a sitting president. It's really, really sad, honestly. Now, a whole lot has been happening, you know. A whole lot has been happening as regards to the Islamization. And like I told you, the Tinubu's government said there is no Christian genocide. So all the people that have been dying in Benue State, in Plateau State, in Taraba, in Bauchi, in Adamawa, and they are mostly Christians. Their communities have been deserted, and the people there now in IDP camp. Recently, we heard that some of them returning to Taraba. They were ambushed by these Fulanis, you know, and many of them lost their lives. Many of them, about 17 of them, lost their lives. And Tinubu is saying there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. I don't know if he does not even acknowledge what Nigerians are going through. Tell me how he will be able to solve the problem. That is it. If Tinubu does not even accept that the problem exists, tell me how he will be able to quench this fire that is burning. Now, let me read this article. No genocide in Nigeria, Tinubu insists. President Bola Tinubu has insisted there is neither Christian genocide nor Muslim genocide in Nigeria. Tinubu said this while declaring open the Nauru Lahi Faith Society 8 PNA Conference annual general meeting in Abuja. This is a Muslim conference. The theme of the conference was building resilience in a changing world, the role of faith and community, presented by Lateef Fagbemi, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. The president said that the country has terrorism driven by criminality and extremism. So terrorism, he doesn't know what these terrorists are looking for. They are looking for jihad. So Tinubu is accepting that there is terrorism, but he's not accepting that it's all about jihad. When you have terrorists, what are they looking for? Shakao them. What are they looking for? They are looking for a caliphate. That's what they are looking for in Nigeria. They want Nigeria to become an Islamic state. That's just all what they want, you know. So many people have reacted to this tweet. This is from Sahara Reporters. No Christian or Muslim genocide in Nigeria. President Tinubu insists that there's nothing like Christian-Muslim genocide in Nigeria. Now let's see how some Nigerians are reacting. This person says, instead of pleading and peacefully negotiating with us, let them know your plans to stop it. You are still lying about what they have confirmed by themselves. You should have plan B in case they are already, or you should have plan B in case, because they are already on the next stage of on their way of dealing with such concluded investigation. This person remind me of Owo massacre. You see, despite Owo massacre, Tinubu is saying there's no Christian genocide. Now, this person said, Mr. President, this was you 11 years ago, openly condemning the slaughter of Christian worshippers at a time when the situation was far less severe than it is today. So what changed? That's the question Tinubu really has to answer. Tinubu once said that Christians were being killed. Today he said there's no Christian genocide. So what has changed when we are seeing more killings? Now this person said the toughest job I have done was being APC spokesman. You cannot do the job without lying, Bolaji. Cannot do the job of an APC man without you lying. Now look at Bishop Coker once said, this Bishop Coker in 2020, Bishop Coker, genocide is happening in Nigeria. That's Bishop Coker. And then this is the TV of Benue State, when Tinubu went to Benue, that he couldn't even get to where the attackers invaded. Tinubu just stopped at the government house, and the TV, the chief of the Benue people told him, Benue killings, this is genocide, not a dispute. TERR0R TV tells Tinubu. And this is Lalong. Lalong is saying genocide, 64 communities forcefully taken over. Solomon Lalong is repeating the same thing, and this person is Obo. Fulani herdsmen have taken over 40% of Benue land. So guys, tell me if this is not genocide. You drive a people, kill some, injure some, take their land, shut down their schools, shut down their churches, you occupy their lands, and the government is okay. The government is fine. The Reverend Father is fine with it. He has come out to say there is no Christian genocide. This is why this problem is not going to end anytime soon. I mean, it's not going to end anytime soon, honestly. It's really, really so pathetic when you look at the way things are going in Nigeria. Now, let me take you this other headline here. This is the Benue State governor. It's a plateau killing, nothing but sponsored genocide, says Governor Muftuan. And this headline here from Arise TV says, farmer header clash, but not it's a plateau killing, not a farmer header clash, but genocide by terrorists. Dalong, this is the same man speaking the same thing, that it is. He's not even from Plateau State, but he has to speak the truth. This one, since 1999, every government has its own share of experience with the killings in Plateau State. After the corpses are buried, money is donated to the widows, orphans, and their displaced victims. Then they wait for the next round of massacre. A state richly endowed with uniquely gifted and graced by nature, has been successfully turned into a perennial killing field. Plateau is paradox of a state blessed with everything and cursed with conflict. The soil of the plateau can grow anything, but it must grow the seed of peace first. So Remi Tinubu donates 1 billion naira to victims of Plateau. So guys, this to tell you that even the government itself is attesting that there is Christian genocide in Nigeria, but Tinubu will always quick to deny that there's no Christian genocide, and that's what people are lamenting. You know, this person now is saying, "Oh, my sleeping child, your only crime was to be born in a nation without a leader. You were sleeping and dreaming of the surprise of the sunrise to come with your play. The herders who belong to no nation sneak in and cut off your dream of a brighter day." Jesus Christ. That was how they buy these ones, you know. That was how they buy them. And this one here says, do you know the countless villages across the Middle Belt that have been completely abandoned because of Islamist terrorists that have taken so many residents, while the few who survived were forced to flee into IDP camps just to stay alive? How does the state end up with over 600,000 people in IDP camps? You know, that is the latest figure, 600 in only Benue alone. You know, 600 in only Benue alone. Tinubu is sleeping and coming out to say there is no Christian genocide. It's really, really so sad that we are seeing all this. It is evident now that we don't have leaders in this country. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.